this is my buddy Jordan.
Hi guys.
And this is his 2017 Mustang GT Performance package. So if you guys are new to this channel, you guys know I have a 2016 Mustang and it's just a base car. So what we're gonna do today is I'm gonna play with his car for a little while, and then we're gonna swap and jump in my car, and we're gonna see if the performance package really is worth the $3,000 bump. You know, are you actually getting $3,000 more car? I don't know yet, we'll find out. Starting off with the interior of this car, it's exactly the same. The only difference between my car and a performance package is you get an oil pressure gauge and a vacuum gauge.
Yeah.
And you get those two on the center stack between the two AC vents. Now, just so you guys know, you do get that in a base car also. It's just in one of your gauge screens on the center screen, you know, in the actual gauge cluster itself. But it is cool having an analog gauge, especially that vacuum gauge. It just moves every time you hit the gas. I'd get in a car wreck because I would just watch that the whole time. But other than that, everything on the inside is exactly the same. Other than, I think this plastic bezel piece is a little different. And I don't know if that's just because it's a 2017 or if it's a performance pack thing, but this is not the same as mine.
No? Okay.
No, this like brushed circular aluminum look.
Yeah, it's like a machined look.
Yeah, so whatever that is, that's different too. But everything else, normal S550. I'm not going to go into it too much because, you know, this is the third S550 I put on the channel. Car's been around for a while. You guys know what it looks like. Under the hood, same story. Same 5-liter V8, 435 horsepower, 400 pounds of torque. And this is going to be a good comparison video for mine and his, because mod for mod, we're identical right now. We both have, we're on the same lowering springs. We have an X-pipe and an axle back, sort of. We both have an exhaust.
Yeah.
So there's nothing crazy done to either car that would, you know, I guess, widen the gap between the two, apart from what comes from the factory. You know, the differences there with the performance pack and a base car. So while we're talking about some of the differences, I guess we might as well hit on that. So, differences from your car to my car.
It's got larger Brimbos. It has different wheels, obviously. They're a 19-inch with a 255 tire in the front, 275 tire in the rear.
You only got 235s all the way around on the base car, so that's a big difference. And you got 18s on the base car.
Yeah. And the 373 rear gear.
That's probably one of the biggest.
Comes with a front strut tire brace.
Mm-hmm.
And this isn't on the stock suspension. I have SR Performance lowering springs, but the factory springs do have a higher spring rate than the regular base model.
The biggest ones that I can feel just from where I'm at right now is the 373s. That's a huge difference. Actually, since we're coming up to a stop sign, let's test out the 6-piston Brembos. So
she stops.
She stops. I mean, what you get on my car is you get a 4-piston, 14-inch rotor with a 4-piston caliper on my car. You get a 15-inch rotor with a 6-piston Brembo caliper on this car. And I'll be honest, I didn't think it was going to be a huge difference. And but what you feel initially on it is the bite on these is a lot harder. These brakes grab at the very top of the pedal, and then it's a very firm pedal feel, and the harder you push, this thing just tries to rip your face off.
Yeah,
so that's cool.
It'll lock up the front tires.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On an ABS car. Something I've noticed about these Mustangs is that all of the nannies don't do anything. Like,
yeah, they're very loose.
Like, I feel like I swear this traction control button was just put there to appease people, and like when you push it, it says it's doing something different, but it's really just the exact same car.
Yeah, it is still spin.
It just spins all the time.
You know, the stability track on these does serve a purpose. It will help you if you're sliding in like a wet situation, but under normal driving, it'll still get sideways with it off, on, it doesn't care.
Yeah, it's true. If you're trying to get out of a situation, I can see where the stability management will help.
Yeah.
But if you are asking it to do something fun and, you know, questionable, then it'll just be like, okay, whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
You know, like, one thing you can feel, and I felt it when I put it on my last Mustang, is, you know, a strut brace really does make a lot of difference in the front end. Because, I mean, us having the same springs, you know, and, you know, the same width front tires, you know, our car should feel the exact same, and your car feels a lot stiffer over the nose. Yeah. And I know it's because of that strut brace, because you're adding one more, you know, piece of structure to the car.
Yeah, it connects everything up top. It keeps your suspension geometry consistent throughout a turn.
Right, your car is just
no flex.
Super flat. Yeah, exactly. There's no flex in the front end of this car. It doesn't make the car uncomfortable at all. but very, very responsive. I mean, little inputs point the car exactly where you want it to go. So cosmetically, you get a couple little tweaks, really only one. You get a bigger front splitter on the front, which you don't think is a whole lot bigger until you put it next to my car and you're like, all right, it looks a lot better. It looks a lot more appropriate on the car. And then you get the 19-inch black wheels versus the 18-inch crap wheels you get with the base car, and which is cool having some, you know, bigger, nicer wheels. One, because you can run a bigger tire. You actually get a staggered setup on this car from the factory. And two, it eliminates the need to buy custom wheels so fast because these wheels actually look really good on the car. 373 is they're just the magic gear for this car. It seems like everything Fox bodying on 373s or 410s, really 373s if you're going to daily drive it.
Yeah.
But 373s are just the most magical gear you can put in this car.
Yes, especially if you stay like naturally aspirated.
Right.
If you keep it around 450 or so, maybe 500, 373s will work out great for you.
You know, because just Coyotes just, you know, by nature just aren't known for making as much torque as, like, you know, the LS platform and stuff like that.
Sure.
So what you lack a little bit in torque down low, you make up for in gearing, and it really, really wakes the car at the bottom end up. And then all these Coyotes just scream in the upper rev range, so you never have to worry about that.
Yeah.
Really does make it a much more well-balanced car. That's one thing I've noticed in my car is that if you're not in the right gear at the right revs, you're sitting there, as soon as you hit it in my car, you're like, come on.
Yeah.
And then, you know, once you get over 3,000-4,000 RPMs, then it's like, all right, boom, we're going. But anything lower than that, it kind of is a little sluggish.
It's just lacking a little bit.
And the gears really picks that up.
Sounds like a gear swap.
Sounds like a gear swap. Add it to the list. Sorry, Madison. No house for you. But yours is a 2017, so you don't get the blinkers in the hood. I feel bad for you about that.
Really?
What?
I mean,
it's the stupidest, coolest thing in the world.
Is it?
You only see it turning left, and it doesn't serve any purpose because nobody can see it but you. But every time you turn left, you're like, oh yeah, what's going on?
I can see that. But they are functional heat extractors.
But they're functional heat extractors, which is cool.
That's a pet peeve of mine. I don't like hood scoops unless they're functional.
Bolt-on hood scoops.
Oh my goodness.
The AutoZone special.
Yes. Yes.
You know, normal driving, you know, I've heard, you know, people complain that under normal driving, you know, the performance pack, you're just stuck shifting a lot. And, I mean, I think even you said that you end up shifting a lot too, but, you know.
It's quicker through first, second, third, you know, as far as, you know, your time in between shifts, but I love to drive, so it doesn't bother me one bit. And I mean, with 373s, how you can go first to fourth, and you're still fine in traffic.
Exactly. You know, and as long as I've owned my car, you know, I mean, I'm driving this one now. It doesn't feel any different. So I'm not like exuding any more energy. I'm like, oh my god, this is so boring. I'm still shifting. No, it feels just like my car in that department. Yeah. The one thing you did do that's different. What did you do to your clutch?
It's got a Steeda clutch spring.
Steeda clutch spring. We're gonna do that to my car today. I'm gonna go order that tonight because it feels a lot stiffer. It feels a little bit more like a clutch and not. You know,
it gets closer to like a mechanical clutch feel. You know, not super stiff, but it gets rid of that hang up.
Yeah.
You know, where you get like, you push it 2 inches and then it just pounds to the floor.
Yeah, I like it. It feels like, you're right. It feels very mechanical.
It's much more linear.
I like it. All right, cool. So that's the end of us in his car, but it's not the end of this video. So now we're gonna swap over into my car. We're gonna let Jordan drive, and I wanna see if he can feel a huge difference between my car and his car. So let's go ahead and swap all the equipment over, and we'll catch up with you guys in a second.
Adios.
Do you watch my videos?
Yep.
Okay, let me hear what's something I say? What's something I do a bunch? I don't know.
What's something you do a bunch?
Give me a Dane impression, man.
Oh Lord.
Oh my god, guys.
Alright, let's see.
Alright, drive the slow car.
Let's see how different they feel. It's a noticeable difference.
Yeah, it is. Sitting over here on this side, it is too.
It is a noticeable difference. No, not in a bad way, but it revs a little slower. But the power is still there on the top end, like you said.
Right. And that's what I feel different.
It just takes a little bit longer to get there.
Right. You feel the top end power in my car. I think it's a little more noticeable because it has that bottom end loss.
Yes.
Whereas yours is very linear through the entire rev range.
Yeah. I love the way your car sounds, by the way.
You think it sounds? I feel like it doesn't sound a whole lot different than your car.
I feel like it's
I mean, it's gonna be. I mean, so if you guys don't know, he's got an X pipe and then it's just straight pipe, and mine's an X pipe going into a Roush muffler. So I mean, it's gonna be a little different, I guess. I mean, that Roush muffler is just so straight through that I didn't know if it did a whole lot of difference.
It sounds a little bit more, like I said earlier, refined.
Gotcha. You know, it's more like an exhaust system.
Yeah, more tone.
Less noise.
Yes.
I forget how much room you have on this side of the car. Like I'm freaking full legs, straight,
it feels
toes
so
pointed, dude.
I'm gonna let them get a little bit.
Okay.
Let's see if I can do like a 40 or so. She stops.
Yeah, yeah.
It's still big brakes for a factory car. It really is.
Yeah, for a factory car especially. I mean, you know, freaking 14-inch rotors. I mean, that's a big brake for any car.
Yeah, it's softer.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's not
like the pedal itself is softer.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't feel as aggressive as a brake system.
I would agree with that. And I don't feel like
which is okay for daily driving. You know, there's times, especially I travel a lot for work, so I'm driving different rental cars all the time, and I'll get back, and the first time I stop in my neighborhood, I'm like barely touching the brakes, but I'm hitting my head on the steering wheel because I'm not used to it. In a world of opinions, what did you think? What's your final thought? You know, about you've never driven my car before.
So final thoughts on just the way your car drives. Period. It's better. It's just there's no two bones about it. It's better. It's sharper. It turns in faster. It brakes harder. It accelerates harder. I mean, I keep thinking like a way to quantify it for these guys, and my number's like 20%. Like your car does everything 20% better than mine.
I can understand that.
You know, I mean, it brakes a little bit better, it accelerates a little bit better. I mean, it's just it feels like and it's just, not in the car itself, because the car itself's the exact same, but driving characteristics, I mean, again, this is all personal preference, but everything just feels a little bit better. And that's kind of where I would say it. I mean, and, so I mean, obviously your answer is going to be yes to this question because you bought it, but after driving my car, do you think it's worth $3,000 more?
That's what I was about to mention.
And obviously,
if you plan on driving the car like it was meant to be driven, if you want to drive it hard, you want something to corner well, maybe a couple track days here and then, autocross, then I would say yes. If you're going to daily drive a car and you want something that's fun and the budget might not necessarily allow, you know, for a performance package, or if you've got the money and you think it's worth it and you're gonna drive it, do it. But if not, there's really no point in spending the extra money. You know, so it's still a fun car to drive. It still handles really well. I know some of the stock springs, but it's still planted. It still has power. I don't know if it's worth $3,000.
That's where I'm torn. Because I mean, I agree with you. It's very dependent on what your purpose for the car is. I mean, like I said, if it's just going to be a daily driver car, you're going to take it to some car shows. You have no real interest in any form of track driving, or if it's, you know, I think in those aspects, then no, I don't think it's worth an extra $3,000. If you are a track junkie, if you know driving is, you know, if you care more about how the car feels sitting inside the car than looking on the outside the car, you know, if driving is more important to you than aesthetics and things like that, then yes, I do think it's worth it.
I mean, honestly, the major differences, cost-wise, are the brakes and the gearing.
That's really, that's where all your money is.
But at the end of the day, you know, if you know a little thing or two about working on cars, you can swap your gears you can buy a gear set for like $200-300, if not less than that, and do it in your driveway in an afternoon. You know, spending $3,000 for a little bit larger front brakes, the rear brakes are the same, and a gear swap in my opinion, it's not worth $3,000. But that's also because I'll do it myself.
So, and there's something to think about too. If you guys, if anybody bought a base car and you are kicking yourself for not buying a performance package, you know, because I went and did a little homework to this, you can piece out a performance package car for about the same price as the upgrade. So I think it's like $1,200 for the exact same brake kit you have up front, a gear swap, you know, doing that.
Is that new?
Yeah, new. That's new.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that's new, about $1,200. And so I mean, there's different things you could do. You could make this a performance pack car if you wanted to. So I mean, don't be upset if you did not buy one and you want one.
No.
But
it's still, I mean,
I'm torn because I don't want to say one way or the other. Yes, it's better. No, it's not better. Obviously, it's better. But that's where I'm gonna kind of leave my answer too. If you know you're focused on driving, then yes, it's absolutely worth $3,000 because $3,000 is a small price to pay for what you get, and then the hassle of having to do it yourself. You don't have to worry. You don't have to worry about any of that.
Yeah, I've got to agree.
But like I said, but the base car itself, not a bad car at all. I don't think it's
Definitely.
You know, it's nothing to turn your nose up at. After getting, it's not like we got out of Jordan's car and got in this car and goes, wow, this car sucks. You know, we didn't have that feeling. I don't think.
No,
you know,
not at all.
It's it's just not as good.
It's a little different, but it's not like a bad different.
Yeah.
It's all opinion. You know, it really is how you're going to drive the car.
Right. Go drive the two.
You know, and that's really, you know, if you're torn between a performance package or a base model non-PP, drive both of them.
Yeah. Anyways, guys, hopefully this video was at least somewhat helpful for you. And Jordan, thanks for letting me drive your car, dude.
Oh, thanks for the opportunity.
Cool.
It was fun.
All right, well, cool, guys. We'll see you guys in the next video. You guys have any questiones for me or Jordan, let me know. His real name is Jordan, by the way.
Yeah.
We'll see you guys in the next video. Until then, bye.
See you guys.